What if I told you? That scream that makes your insides clench, that look that hurts worse than a slap. They're not about you at all. Most people are terrified of conflict. We perceive it as a direct threat to our peace, our relationships, our very self-esteem. We've been taught for years to avoid confrontation, as if the very act of conflict could destroy us. But a Stoic sees it entirely differently. For them, conflict isn't an enemy at all. It's an opportunity to finally discover where you truly are and where you're merely playing someone else's role. An opportunity to honestly examine what exactly drives you in a critical moment. Reason or blind impulse, dignity or sheer fear. Conflict doesn't create chaos out of nothing. It merely mercilessly highlights the chaos that's long been lurking within a person. Someone whose empty inside starts shouting, accusing, and arguing. Someone who's truly collected listens, remains silent, and directs. Not because they're weak, but because they're stronger than the desire to be right. If you've ever noticed this difference in yourself, between who you are when you're calm and who you become when you're in a moment of conflict, stay here until the end and subscribe to the channel right now. What comes next will truly change how you respond to people tomorrow. Stoicism doesn't call for coldness and insensitivity. It teaches clarity. It says, you don't have to respond to a shout with a shout. Silence says so much more. You don't have to avenge the pain you've caused. Your calm has already done more than any words. And you don't have to get caught up in every other person's drama. Sometimes you win simply by not entering their stage at all. When you lose yourself in an argument, you've already lost, even if you've formally convinced your opponent. When you remain calm, you win, even if you've been silent the entire time. Calmness isn't weakness. It's maturity. It's the highest, almost unattainable form of self-mastery. And if you truly want to live, and not just be an automatic reaction to someone else's words, you'll have to master this art. Stoicism doesn't suggest hiding from tension. It teaches us to remain absolutely still in its very center, like a rock in the middle of a raging ocean. The water may foam furiously, the waves may crash against the rock again and again, but the rock itself remains unchanging. This isn't just a beautiful philosophy, it's a true shield. It's a way to exist in this world without losing your inner core for a second. This is precisely what we'll talk about today. How to remain calm in any battle where not just someone else's opinion is at stake, but your own dignity. Lesson 1. Conflict is not an external enemy, but a test of your inner state. Conflict truly frightens only those who have never truly met themselves, because everything that happens in the external world is merely a reflection of the internal world. Someone yells at you, and anger flares inside. But is it really them yelling? Or is it your own resentment, pent up for years? Someone humiliates you, and you feel a sharp pain. But is it really them humiliating you? Or is it an old, unhealed wound flaring up? The Stoic understands perfectly well. Conflict creates absolutely nothing new within us. It merely brings to the surface what has long been quietly lurking within. That's why the first and most common mistake is to perceive conflict as an attack. It's not an attack, it's a test. A test of your maturity, a test of your self-control, a test of your ability to remain yourself at a time when you're being provoked with all your might to become someone completely different. Stoicism is crystal clear. You are not responsible for other people's actions. You are only responsible for how you react to them. The world doesn't have to be gentle for you to remain calm. You must be firm enough to keep it from breaking you. Every conflict is like a gust of wind. It doesn't make you weaker. It simply reveals how firmly you truly stand. And if you still harbor a dependence on others' approval, a fear of being misunderstood, a desperate need to prove something to someone, conflict will mercilessly expose these very things. You'll flare up, say the wrong thing, and regret it for a long time. But if you have a true core within you, then conflict becomes an opportunity to rise above what's happening, to remain pure where everything around you is filthy, to speak calmly and evenly where everyone is trying so hard to tear you apart, to respond not symmetrically, but from the very depths of yourself. Calm in conflict isn't born in the moment of the argument itself. It's born much earlier, the moment you honestly admit that no one can ever destroy your inner state unless you voluntarily hand them the keys. So is it really worth giving up power over yourself to anyone who's simply a little louder than you? Lesson 2. You can't control others, only your own perception. This is one of the most painful illusions that almost all of us live under. We desperately try to change others so we can finally feel peace within ourselves. We tell ourselves, if he hadn't yelled, I wouldn't be angry. If she had respected me, I wouldn't be suffering. But Stoicism mercilessly reveals the real truth. You never, under any circumstances, control another person. Not their words, not their reactions, not their idea of justice. The only thing you truly have power over is how you perceive it and how you respond. Epictetus said, "It's not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." This means that it's not the words themselves that anger you, but the fact that you chose to think about them. It's not the other person's behavior that hurts you directly, but how strongly you attach to the idea that they should have behaved differently. It's this tension between reality and your inner expectation that ignites a real internal fire. But this fire is yours, which means it's up to you to put it out. When you lose control over yourself because of something someone said or did, you voluntarily surrender control of your soul to someone else. You become a puppet in someone else's play. You cease to be the author of your own life. And this is precisely the deepest form of addiction possible: emotional dependence on someone else's behavior. The Stoic destroys this scenario at its roots. He doesn't even try to change other people. He cultivates only one thing: his ability to remain independent of them. He understands perfectly well. Every person is a reflection of their own pain, their own history, their own blindness. Some are rude because they carry within them years of humiliation. Some are toxic because they have long been poisoned by their own fear. But this is not your fault and certainly not your battle. By the way, if this principle that other people's rudeness is most often not about you has already started to change something in your head right now, it's time to subscribe to the channel. The next 2 lessons will go even deeper. So what can you do? You can keep your mind clear. You can choose not to participate in someone else's drama. You can feel the anger flaring up inside you and honestly say to yourself, here it is. I feel it, but I am not it. And instead of reacting automatically, take a simple pause. One breath, one small step within, one brief moment of silence. This is more than enough to reclaim your lost power. Not reacting doesn't mean being weak. It means being truly free. It means acting from a conscious choice, not from an external trigger. It means not allowing someone else's pain to infect your own. This is where true peace is born, not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. Because no one will ever make this world so comfortable that you can remain eternally balanced in it. But you are fully capable of becoming so deep that no storm will ever again reach your bottom. Lesson 3. Calmness is not suppression, but rather the transformation of emotion into conscious action. Life usually teaches us 2 extremes. Some say, don't feel, be tough, rise above it. Others insist, give yourself over to your emotions completely, don't hold back, be real. But Stoicism takes a completely different, third path. It says, emotions are not enemies or absolute masters. They are pure power. But this power either serves you faithfully or inevitably destroys you. True peace lies not in feeling nothing, but in feeling fully, and yet not submitting. A Stoic never artificially suppresses anger. He sees it. He honestly feels his pulse quicken, his chest boiling. But he doesn't allow this wave to wash him onto a strange, unfamiliar shore. He stays within himself because he firmly knows the first reaction is almost always a lie. Almost always, it's just an echo of old pain, wounded pride, deep-seated fear. Not the real you, but the wounded you. It's at this very moment that something truly important begins. Not a struggle with another person, but a subtle work within yourself. You seem to stand on the border between your old self, impulsive, abrupt, easily vulnerable, and your new self, collected, whole, in complete control. And you always have a choice. It is this choice that makes you truly free. This isn't repression at all. Repression is when you silently swallow a grudge, letting it slowly rot somewhere inside. Stoicism is not about that at all. Stoicism is about transformation. about how pain turns into depth, how irritation grows into calm, confident strength, how fear turns into attention and precise strategy. This is true alchemy of the spirit. You take what can destroy you and transform it into exactly what builds you up.
Imagine a blacksmith.
He holds white-hot metal in his hands. He doesn't throw it away, isn't afraid, doesn't grab it with his bare hands. He picks up a hammer and confidently begins to shape the metal. So, your anger is that very same red-hot metal, and your mind is the hammer in your hands. And the steadier your hand, the more precise and confident your strike. Calmness is the result of true mastery. Not innate coldness, not weakness of character, but long, stubborn, daily practice of being truly strong within, even when everything around you calls you to react. But to begin this journey, you must learn to see not an external enemy before you, but the inner impulse that has already awakened within you. Not the one who offended you, but what exactly in you reacted to it. Notice how your chest tightens, how your voice treacherously trembles, how sharp, cutting words already brew in your head. And at this very moment, simply stop. Do nothing. Exhale. Stay with this feeling for a while without running from it. Don't be afraid of it. It will inevitably pass on its own if you don't feed it with a new reaction. You don't have to scream back. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't have to become someone else's mirror. You can become a fire that warms rather than destroys. You can be the silence that silences even the loudest scream. You can be the water that extinguishes every stray spark. This is true transformation, because true strength lies not in punishing the offender, but in not allowing someone else's weakness to awaken your own. This is where true maturity manifests itself, when you respond not from pain, but from the depths. Not from fear, but from full awareness. Not automatically, but completely freely. And then you'll suddenly notice, most conflicts could have been nipped in the bud. They were simply stubbornly fueled by those who never learned to tame their own inner flame. And if you've learned to do this, you're no longer like everyone else. You're not just another person among many. You're a wall against which waves crash. You're a fire that shines but never consumes. You're the silence in which someone else's cries quickly lose all their power. Lesson 4. Provocation is an invitation to a game you're under no obligation to accept. Almost any conflict begins not with a blow, but with a gentle push, a hint, a dismissive glance, a poisonous word uttered in a low voice. It's a carefully laid trap. Provocation isn't a shout, an open fight, or a direct frontal attack. Provocation is a hook, someone else's persistent attempt to draw you into their own game. And the moment you begin to react, you're already playing strictly by their rules. The Stoic, however, takes a step back at this point. He views provocation as a performance in which he is not obliged to participate. He understands perfectly well that another person's aggression is most often not strength at all, but weakness, skillfully disguising ordinary fear. When a person yells, humiliates, and openly provokes, he has long since lost control of the situation. He has completely lost control and is now desperately trying to regain it through you. If you join in this game, you become part of his own destructive mechanism. You voluntarily give him power over you. You feel your insides tighten. You've been hurt, humiliated, provoked. Your hand instinctively reaches out to strike back. You want to return the favor, to strike back, to put the offender in his place. But if you're truly stoic, you don't back down. Not because you don't care, but because you're above this fight. Because you're not a victim of your own instincts, but the sovereign master of your own choices. True strength lies not in effectively parrying a blow, but in not allowing it to penetrate you in the first place. Refusing to accept the poison offered under the convenient guise of a fair response. Refusing to engage in dialogue if that dialogue was planned from the start only to weaken you. This is not cowardice, it is strategy, this is true maturity. Machiavelli wrote, "The first to lose control loses influence along with it." And he was absolutely right. The provocateur doesn't need the truth. He needs power over your inner state. He needs you to become a mirror and reflect back his own poison. But if you remain silent, if you remain calm, if you consciously choose not to play by someone else's rules, he remains alone on an empty stage, and you remain truly free. Imagine a fighter standing in a circle being taunted, challenged, and openly insulted. Everyone around him is waiting for him to snap, for him to finally push forward. But he stands calm, quiet, collected, because he firmly knows the most powerful blow is the one you simply don't allow to be landed. The most brilliant victory is the one you achieve without proving anything to anyone. Provocation is a real trap, but it only works if you voluntarily enter it. And every time you refuse to do so, you take a step closer to true inner power. Not over others, over yourself. Lesson 5. When conflict is inevitable, be the rock against which the waves break. Sometimes avoiding conflict is simply impossible. You can't leave, you can't remain silent, you can't stand aside. Someone is openly invading your boundaries, blatantly violating your principles, threatening what you hold most dear. And at that moment, Stoic calm takes on a completely new form. A form of strength that cannot be dislodged, no matter how hard you try. You're no longer a bystander, you're a full-fledged participant in what's happening. But even here, you mustn't lose your inner center. A Stoic doesn't soften when pressed on the most painful point. He only hardens. His speech becomes crystal clear, his gaze steady, his actions precise to the millimeter, without a single flash of anger, without unnecessary haste, without a blind desire to win at any cost. He doesn't shout, he speaks in a way that silences everyone else. Imagine a rock in the middle of a stormy, furious sea. The waves crash against it again and again with fury. The water seethes, foams, and rises higher than a man's head. But the rock itself doesn't move an inch. It doesn't intentionally stir up the storm, but it is fully prepared to meet it. It doesn't attack first, but it won't overstep its bounds. This is what true inner dignity looks like in the moment of direct, inevitable confrontation. It's important to remember, a Stoic doesn't avoid conflict at all costs. They simply consciously choose how to navigate it, without losing themselves, without descending into blind rage, without becoming a mirror image of their enemy. They are perfectly capable of responding firmly, of defending themselves and their loved ones, of firmly and clearly saying no. But all of this stems not from fear, but from a deep, complete confidence in their own position, from a calm that has long since abandoned the need for justification or approval. True strength lies precisely in not dissolving in someone else's storm, not allowing someone else's rage to dictate who you are in that moment, not allowing circumstances to dehumanize you, for it is in conflict that a person's true essence is revealed, not in how they speak beautifully of peace in calm times, but in how they act when the world around them is truly crumbling. You can be both firm and dignified. You can be decisive and yet fair. You can be unyielding and yet maintain complete calm in your own voice, because you don't seek revenge, you simply stand. You don't react mindlessly, you are consciously present. You don't destroy everything around you, you endure. And when it's finally over, when the waves recede, when the screaming finally fades, you'll still be yourself, having lost nothing. And no one will ever say you didn't fight, because you did. Not against a specific person, but against your own reaction, against the temptation to break down, against the desire to destroy everything around you. And you won. In a world where everyone is trying to outshout everyone else, silence becomes true strength. In a world where everyone demands, pressures, and provokes, the greatest victory is the ability to simply not give in. Not because you're weak, but because you're truly free, inner freedom from the need to prove something to someone, to win over someone, to be understood, heard, or unconditionally accepted. Stoicism isn't about denying your feelings. It's the path of someone who once walked through real fire and learned to hold their own in it without melting. It's not armor worn for show. It's clarity, a deep, calm knowledge. Everything that happens on the outside is just a stage. The most important thing always happens within you. If you've managed to maintain balance within yourself, you've won, even if, at first glance, you've seemingly lost. Not everyone can live like this. Not everyone is prepared not to fight back. But if you choose this path, you're not simply existing day after day. You're building a true fortress within yourself, one in which no one will ever be able to bring chaos. If everything you've just read has truly resonated with you, it means that that very calm is already awakening within you that cannot be broken by any words. Subscribe to the channel. Here we learn not to shout louder than everyone else, but to live more deeply. Not to conquer others, but to conquer yourself. Because true power is the calm you maintain precisely when the whole world around you demands that you immediately lose it.